Hello there, my name is Nevo Zisin. I am an author, an activist, a public speaker, and I run workshops in schools and workplaces around transgender identity. But today, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a tiny rainbow cake made out of polymer clay. Okay, so first off, you're going to get yourself some polymer clay. You can get it from Lincraft, from Spotlight, from really anywhere, also Officeworks. And you want to get all of the colors of the rainbow, as well as a white and a black. Now for tools, you'll want a sharp blade of some kind. I'll use a craft X-Acto knife. You also want a rolly pin. You could use an olive oil bottle or a wine bottle or anything really. This is a little tool with balls on the end. You can get it from Lincraft. Something that will cut circles and an old toothbrush. We'll begin by rolling some spheres in each of the colours, around the same size. I wouldn't be too particular about it. It's not about being perfect, it's just about having fun. Then after I've done all of the different colours, I'll also do them in white as well, so little spheres in white, and that will be used to separate the layers of the cake. Roll them out and cut them into the sphere shape, using white to separate each of the layers, and that will just make the colours stand out more. I've also opted to include black and brown in my rainbow cake. The black and brown stripes have recently been added to the rainbow flag to pay testament to the black and brown people who have been at the centre of our LGBTIQA plus movements since the very beginning. So you'll keep going. That's what you kind of are hoping for. You want them to be vaguely the same size, each of your rollout spheres. But again, don't be too particular about it because it really is just for having fun. I don't even always do them the same size or roll them out this way. Sometimes I just kind of do it by eyesight and just feel for it. Then you can kind of slice along the edges a little bit just to make it a bit more even. Again, this is kind of a bonus step if you want to. Rolling out the brown. This takes a lot longer in full time. This is obviously sped up significantly. It probably would take you about an hour, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, depending on how particular you are being. So now I've got all my layers together. That's kind of how it looks before we put the icing on. Going to put the icing together. Now, I do this lots of different ways. I've done it many different ways in the past. You can kind of do it however you want, but I've opted for a bit of a rolling situation. And I'm just going to cut along the top bit and then create that into part to cover it up. It doesn't really matter if it's not perfect. Again, I know I've said that a few times, but you can always, clay is so malleable, so you can really have a play with it and just sort of use your fingers to even it out. And I like to use this little ball tool to sort of draw over it a little bit. Now I'm just getting fancy with my decorations. You don't have to get as fancy as I got, but I figured I had made it this far, so I may as well just go extra, which is really my style as a queer trans person and a performer, of course. So I'm making a little rainbow here with the black and brown stripes as well, and I'm going to put that on top of my cake, on the very top of it. I've also decided to make sprinkles, which took a really long time. But that's why it's good sometimes to keep all of the little offcuts of your clay. So you can see here I kept them all from the little spheres that I made and the ways that I rolled them out. And so I then just used them to make these little sprinkles, just cut off tiny bits and put them all around, which just made it that extra bit fancy. But because this is such a deep cake, it's such a tall cake, it was actually really hard to cut open. So spoiler alert, it didn't go quite how I wanted it to, but that's okay because it's just for fun. So this is my sort of end product before cutting into it. I was really happy with it. I thought the sparkles looked cute and I like the rainbow as well. Cutting into it is a bit of a task. I think because it's clay, it sort of sticks together as I cut. So it didn't quite work exactly as I wanted, but again, that's totally fine. I used the toothbrush to texture it a little bit, and that makes it look a bit more cakey, I guess. And this was the end result. That's what I was left with. You can also make lots of different kinds of cake. I made this golden one with some love hearts on top, and I made this black one as well a little while ago. Thanks for watching!